Robyn Brown has spent years positioning herself as the ultimate, devoted wife to Kody Brown, embracing the monogamous lifestyle that emerged after the collapse of the Brown family's polygamous experiment. She often presents herself as the loyal partner, standing by Kody's side while his relationships with Meri&Janelle and Christine disintegrated. However, despite her carefully curated image, cracks are beginning to show. Many fans are beginning to wonder if Robyn's so-called tradwife fantasy is turning into a nightmare. While she may have fought to become Kody's sole partner, her life doesn't appear to be the picture-perfect marriage she imagined. From the moment she entered the Brown family, Robyn made it clear that she had different expectations for marriage than the other wives. She wanted a deep, romantic connection with Kody, a level of emotional intimacy that seemed to surpass what he had with his other partners. Over time, it became evident that Kody prioritized his relationship with Robyn above all others, leading to resentment from the other wives. Now, with all three of them gone, Robyn has exactly what she wanted, Kody all to herself. But is she truly happy? There are signs that Robyn might be struggling in her new reality. The woman who once advocated for polygamy as a sacred lifestyle has found herself in an entirely monogamous marriage, one that is drawing increasing scrutiny. She may have fought to be Kody's only wife, but now that she is, the reality might not be as fulfilling as she expected. Kody's ex-wives Janelle, Meri, and Christine have all seemingly flourished since leaving him, while Robyn appears to be trapped in a relationship that is growing more toxic by the day. Robyn's behavior and expressions on Sister Wives have painted a picture of a woman who is far from content. She often appears weary, her usual teary-eyed expressions now seeming more like exhaustion than genuine sadness. The emotional burden of holding Kody's fractured world together has fallen squarely on her shoulders, and the weight of that responsibility seems to be taking a toll. Instead of being the cherished, adored wife she longed to be, she is now dealing with the full force of Kody's anger, frustration, and growing resentment. While the other wives were once an outlet for his emotions, Robyn is now the sole recipient, and it is becoming clear that she may not have been prepared for that reality. One of the clearest indications that Robyn's fantasy is unraveling is the way she reacts to Kody's ex-wives. Christine, Janelle, and even Meri have all embraced their newfound freedom with enthusiasm. Christine has built a beautiful new life with David Woolley, radiating happiness in a way that was rarely seen when she was with Kody. Janelle, who was long known as the pragmatic and independent wife, has leaned into her autonomy, focusing on her own personal and professional growth. Even Meri, who for years seemed unwilling to walk away, has finally moved on, proving that she too is capable of thriving without Kody. Meanwhile, Robyn remains stuck in a stagnant situation, her marriage failing to deliver the fairy tale she once imagined. It is possible that Robyn envies the freedom that Kody's ex-wives now enjoy. While she clings to the traditional notion of marriage, she is watching Christine travel, Janelle reinvent herself, and Meri take bold steps forward. Robyn has spent years convincing herself and others that being with Kody is her greatest joy, yet the reality appears to be something entirely different. She is tied to a man whose temper is only getting worse, whose financial situation is becoming increasingly unstable, and whose past relationships serve as a constant reminder that the women who left him are now far happier than they were with him. Another troubling sign that Robyn's ideal marriage is not as perfect as she claims is her ongoing attempts to rewrite history. She frequently makes comments about how she never wanted to be the only one in Kody's life, yet her actions tell a different story. She benefited greatly from his preference for her, enjoying luxuries that the other wives never had access to. Now, she tries to frame herself as an unwilling participant in Kody's favoritism, but few people are buying it. The reality is that she played a significant role in the dissolution of the Brown family's polygamous structure, and now she is reaping the consequences of that decision. Kody's behavior toward Robyn has also shifted in a noticeable way. When the other wives were still around, he treated Robyn as his sanctuary, the wife he could escape to when things got tough. Now, with no one else left, Robyn is experiencing the full brunt of his moods. The patience and tenderness he once reserved for her seem to be dwindling, replaced by frustration and exhaustion. This is not the dream marriage she envisioned. Instead, it is starting to resemble the very relationships she once pitied. The irony is that while she may have once looked down on Christine, Janelle, and Meri for their struggles with Kody, She is now the one dealing with an unhappy and emotionally draining partnership. Financial concerns are also creeping into the picture. 4 years, Robyn and Kody lived in the most lavish home, seemingly unaffected by the financial difficulties that plagued the rest of the family. Now that the family structure has collapsed, money is becoming a bigger issue. The expenses of maintaining their large house, combined with Kody's dwindling income, are putting a strain on their lives. The financial cushion that once insulated Robyn from the struggles of the other wives is thinning, and she may soon find herself facing the harsh realities that Christine, Janelle, and Meri have already overcome. Robyn's children also play a role in the shifting dynamics of her marriage. Kody has historically favored her kids over his other children, leading to significant resentment within the family. But now that the other wives and their children have distanced themselves, the impact of that favoritism is becoming more apparent. With fewer family members to distract him, Kody's hyperfocus on Robyn's children may not be as positive as it once seemed. His overbearing nature, once seen as a sign of deep investment, could now be turning into suffocating control. Despite all of this, Robyn continues to project the image of a devoted and loving wife. She clings to the belief that monogamy with Kody is her destiny, that she is different from his other wives, and that their love will withstand any challenge. But as time goes on, that belief is becoming harder to maintain. The cracks in her carefully constructed world are widening, and the fantasy she fought so hard to create is slipping away. While Christine, Janelle, and Meri move forward with their lives, Robyn is left behind, trapped in a marriage that is not nearly as enviable as she once believed. The question now is whether Robyn will continue to hold on to her tradwife fantasy, or if she will eventually come to terms with the fact that her dream life with Kody is no bed of roses. If she does reach that realization, she may find herself facing the same choice that Christine, Janelle, and Meri did, to stay and suffer or to leave and finally find happiness. For now, she remains in the role she fought so hard for, but as the evidence continues to pile up, it's becoming clear that the reality of being Kody Brown's only wife is not as glamorous as she once imagined. Meri Brown, one of the most controversial figures from Sister Wives, is making headlines yet again. With her recent life updates, fans and critics alike are beginning to question whether she is genuinely embracing change or simply seeking attention. Over the years, Meri has carefully crafted an image of resilience, independence, and transformation, but many are starting to wonder if her latest moves are more about staying in the spotlight rather than genuine personal growth. Meri's life has been filled with public ups and downs, many of which were heavily documented on Sister Wives. From her crumbling relationship with Kody Brown to her repeated proclamations of self-discovery, the audience has seen her struggle with identity, love, and acceptance. Now that she has officially moved on from her marriage, Meri has been sharing a wave of life updates that are almost too calculated to be taken at face value. She frequently posts about her journey, newfound freedom, and cryptic messages about moving forward. While at first glance this might seem like a positive shift, the frequency and nature of these updates are raising eyebrows. One of the most talked about aspects of Meri's recent updates is her constant reinforcement of her independent spirit. While there is no denying that she has taken significant steps toward breaking free from her past, the way she presents her journey feels more like a performance than an organic process. Every few days, there is another dramatic post about empowerment, self-love, or a newfound realization about her life. Fans who have followed her for years have started to notice a pattern, one that feels designed to generate engagement and attention rather than reveal any real, profound change. Meri's business ventures are also contributing to the skepticism surrounding her intentions. She has always been business savvy, but her current efforts seem to align perfectly with the narrative she is pushing about her reinvention. Whether it's promoting her B&B, sharing inspirational messages, or teasing new ventures, there's an undeniable sense that her branding is overshadowing any real transformation. The timing of these updates, often coinciding with Sister Wives drama or major news about other Brown family members, further fuels the speculation that she is strategically keeping herself relevant. Another factor that makes it hard to take Meri's updates at face value is the pattern of her public declarations versus her actions. For years, she spoke about finding inner peace and focusing on herself, yet she stayed entangled in a toxic dynamic with Kody. Even after claiming independence, she continued to be drawn back into the sister-wives storyline. Now, with her fresh start, it seems like she's doubling down on the narrative of empowerment while still keeping one foot in the public spectacle. If she were truly done with the drama, wouldn't she quietly move on instead of making grand statements every few days? Another recurring theme in Meri's updates is her cryptic, almost poetic messages about self-worth, growth, and the past. While there is nothing inherently wrong with being reflective, the way she crafts these posts seems deliberately vague yet attention-grabbing. She leaves just enough room for interpretation, allowing fans to speculate on her intentions and keep the conversation going. This kind of behavior isn't new for reality TV stars, but in Meri's case, it feels particularly calculated. She has mastered the art of creating engagement without directly addressing any of the real issues people want her to confront. The response to Meri's updates has been mixed. Some fans continue to rally behind her, praising her for her strength and newfound independence. They see her as an inspiration, someone who has endured public humiliation and still managed to rise above it. Others, however, are not convinced. They believe she is strategically playing into her audience's emotions, using her journey as a way to remain relevant rather than genuinely embracing change. These skeptics argue that if Meri truly wanted a fresh start, she would take a step back from the public eye and live her life without constantly broadcasting every moment. What makes this situation even more interesting is the way Meri interacts with the speculation surrounding her. She rarely addresses criticism head-on, but she doesn't ignore it either. Instead, she carefully crafts responses that acknowledge the chatter without fully engaging in it. This keeps people talking without forcing her to confront the deeper issues at play. It's a clever strategy, one that ensures she remains a topic of conversation without ever having to be fully accountable for the narrative she is pushing. Some have pointed out that Meri's attention-seeking behavior might not be entirely her fault. She has spent over a decade in the reality TV world, where relevance is everything. The Brown family has built an empire around their personal struggles, and after years of being the underdog in her own marriage, Meri might feel like this is her time to shine. She is finally getting the attention she was denied for so long, and whether intentional or not, she seems to be capitalizing on it. But there's a fine line between sharing your journey and manufacturing drama for engagement, and many believe Meri is walking dangerously close to that line. Another interesting aspect of Meri's latest updates is how they contrast with the way other Brown family members are handling their post-Kody lives. Christine Brown, for example, has largely moved on without constantly drawing attention to her independence. She found love, embraced happiness, and while she shares occasional updates, they feel genuine rather than staged. Janelle Brown, too, has taken a more measured approach, focusing on her family and personal growth without making grand declarations every other week. Compared to them, Meri's updates feel more like an orchestrated campaign rather than a natural evolution. At the heart of this discussion is the question of authenticity. Is Meri truly embracing her new life, or is she simply playing into the role of the empowered, newly single woman because it fits the narrative she wants to project? It's impossible to say for certain, but the way she continually keeps herself in the spotlight suggests that attention might be just as important to her as personal growth. There's nothing wrong with wanting validation, especially after enduring years of emotional hardship, but when that validation becomes the driving force behind every update, it starts to feel less like a journey and more like a carefully curated performance. For now, Meri Brown remains a polarizing figure. Some will continue to cheer her on, believing in her transformation and taking inspiration from her journey. Others will remain skeptical, convinced that her actions are more about maintaining relevance than truly moving forward. Either way, she has succeeded in one thing: keeping people talking. And in the world of reality TV, that might just be the ultimate goal. It looks like the document already contains the full version of your requested news script. If you'd like any changes, additions, or refinements, let me know. Janelle Brown sells late son Garrison's home 9 months after his tragic death. In a heartbreaking yet necessary step forward, Sister Wives star Janelle Brown has officially sold the home of her late son, Robert Garrison Brown, just 9 months after his tragic passing. The loss of Garrison, a beloved member of the Brown family and a fan favorite, devastated his mother and siblings. Now, This major real estate decision marks another emotional milestone in Janelle's journey through grief and healing. The painful decision to sell Garrison's home. Janelle Brown, 54, has been navigating an unimaginable grief since the sudden loss of her son, who died at the age of 25 in March 2024. Garrison's home, located in Flagstaff, Arizona, was more than just a house. It was a reflection of his independence, growth, and the life he had built for himself outside of the sister-wives dynamic. For months, Janelle struggled with what to do with Garrison's home. Keeping it would mean holding on to precious memories, but it also came with the overwhelming weight of sorrow. Ultimately, after deep reflection and discussions with her remaining children, she made the difficult choice to let it go, ensuring that the space would become a new beginning for another family rather than a permanent reminder of her loss. Inside the home that Garrison left behind. Garrison's home, a cozy yet modern property in Flagstaff, was purchased by him in 2021, marking his step toward full independence. The residence boasted 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a spacious living area decorated with elements of Garrison's personality, a mix of military memorabilia, outdoor adventure gear, and mementos of his love for cats. Over the years, Janelle and Garrison had built cherished memories in the home. He had proudly hosted family get-togethers, spent holidays with his siblings, and shared laughter and stories with his mother in that very space. Letting go of the home, therefore, was not just a financial decision but an emotional one for Janelle. Janelle's emotional tribute to Garrison. As news broke about the sale, Janelle took to social media to express her feelings, sharing heartfelt words about her son and the significance of his home. There are no words to fully capture how much I miss Garrison. This house was his safe place, his sanctuary, his dream come true. While it's hard to let it go, I know it's time. Holding on to the past won't bring him back, but I will always cherish the beautiful moments we had here, she wrote. Her words resonated deeply with fans, many of whom have followed Janelle's journey as a mother since the early days of Sister Wives. Supporters flooded the comments with messages of love, encouragement, and understanding, recognizing the depth of her pain while also admiring her strength. The real estate details. How much did Garrison's home sell for? According to property records, Garrison's Flagstaff home was listed in early January 2025, with a selling price of approximately $480,000. Given the current real estate market, the property attracted significant interest, especially from buyers seeking a home with character and history. Reports indicate that the home sold within weeks of being listed, with a final closing price close to the asking amount. The quick sale speaks to the desirability of the property, but it also reflects Janelle's readiness to take the next steps in her healing process. She worked closely with a trusted real estate agent to ensure that the transaction was smooth and respectful of the emotions tied to the sale. How the Brown family is coping with the loss. Janelle's decision to sell Garrison's home is just one of the many ways she and her family are processing their grief. Garrison's siblings, including Gabe Brown, have expressed their heartbreak over his passing but have also found comfort in celebrating his memory. In a recent interview, Gabe mentioned how much he misses his brother and how the family is doing their best to honor Garrison's life. It still doesn't feel real, he admitted. But we talk about him every day. We share his stories, we laugh at old jokes. That's how we keep him with us. Janelle's ex-husband, Kody Brown, has remained relatively silent on the matter, though he did issue a brief statement after Garrison's passing, expressing his sadness and requesting privacy. However, fans have criticized Kody's seemingly distant role in Garrison's life, particularly in the months leading up to his death. Janelle's future, moving forward without forgetting. Despite the profound sorrow, Janelle is focusing on her healing journey. She has continued to spend time with her children and embrace her newfound independence following her split from Kody. Selling Garrison's home is a step toward finding peace, but she remains committed to keeping his memory alive. Janelle has hinted at upcoming projects, possibly including a memoir that details her experiences as a mother, a reality TV star, and now, a grieving parent. While nothing has been confirmed, fans have expressed their full support for whatever she chooses to do next. One thing is certain, Janelle Brown's strength and resilience continue to inspire. As she turns the page on this difficult chapter, she carries with her the love of her late son, the support of her children, and the unwavering encouragement of her fans. Final thoughts. Honoring Garrison's legacy. Selling a loved one's home is never an easy decision, but for Janelle Brown, it was a necessary step in moving forward. While the house may no longer be in the family's possession, the memories made within its walls will remain in their hearts forever. As Janelle continues her journey of healing, one thing is clear: Garrison's spirit lives on, not only in the hearts of those who loved him but in the stories, laughter, and love that will always be part of his legacy.